All right, welcome everybody to tonight's call. So excited that you guys can be with us. We have a lot of stuff happening. It's everything's happening to us during this call here in Michigan. We have tornado warnings going off and people sheltering in place. So we figured why not do an opportunity call for you all in the midst of the chaos. So, but welcome to tonight's call. Love having and seeing you all here today. My name is Bryce Brouwer. My lovely wife Hannah and we do this business together, and we couldn't be happier with what we do. We get to do it side by side, not only with each other, but with our kids. And that's the lovely part of this whole business. Tonight's opportunity is coming from a very special person near and dear to Hannah and I's heart. Looking forward to introducing her in a few minutes. So, a little bit about me. I come from the engineering field. So I started in manufacturing, went into the food industry, and then later into construction. So, been into multiple different industries, trying to look for something that I could do to be able to provide not only an income but a legacy for my family. We when we started looking at different opportunities, Hannah was the first one that looked at this, and she actually was introduced to this by her mom. And she's like, "Hey, I need to do this. I feel like this is something that I need to do. I'm a nurse. I really care for people. I want to see them better." And was like, I need to do this. And so I just was a supportive husband. I said, "Hey, let's go ahead and try this out. I want you to do it." I've seen network marketing done very wrong. And so what could separate LifeVantage from the rest of this, right? What could do it? Might as well just give it a shot and see where this goes. Lo and behold, I am here in front of you today because I was the skeptic that was proved wrong, and I had a lot of sorries and apologies that I needed to do to my wife after this. So, so a little bit more about that is like, she invited me to an opportunity to basically go to an event where when you get plugged into this, it's just the
Hi.
the family that comes into this, the relationships that are born out of this. I mean, I didn't know. Probably a majority of the people that are on this call. And if you're new, we're super welcome. We're super happy to have you here. And then we also look forward to continued relationship building with you guys. But I wouldn't have known any of you on this call had we not been in this business. And so that's the beauty of all of this is that we get to do this not only on our time, but in the midst of chaos. So it's being proven right now, and then also in a way to be able to build relationships and long-lasting relationships, even at that. So, coming from the engineering industry, I was like, hey, I need a system in place. I need X, Y, and Z to happen because that's how success is born. That's how success starts. That's how duplication is actually implemented is by systems. And what better way to do that than actually getting into not only an amazing company with amazing products that help save people's lives, but we also offer an opportunity on a business side that is even more probably the best product that this company has to offer, honestly. And it's absolutely amazing. So the people that invited you here, they did that because they love you, right? Because they see leadership in you. They see something inside of you that is able to take yourself to that next level, and that is so awesome. Um, so with that, it's just like, hey, we have systems that we are able to implement in this, and we need that duplication. So Hannah and we got humbled very quickly on what that actually looked like, and we did it wrong. But the best thing about network marketing in and of itself is we get second chances, right? And even professional development too. So that's who I am. I love being the person that wants to strive to do better, to do more, to learn more as fast as I can. And in a different field in engineering, that ain't gonna happen. In the food industry, that ain't gonna happen. You have to wait for people to either get up and leave from their positions, or you have to go and find another one. That was part of the reason why I searched for so many different things was because I wanted to level up as quickly as I could. And what better way to do that in this industry? Because you have every opportunity to be able to do that in your own control. You can go as fast, you can go as slow, you can do it from wherever you want to do it. And that's the beauty of what this company does, is what this whole industry does. And quite honestly, I'm not going back from that. This is where I see Hannah and I planted, both from a professional standpoint, but also from the products that this company has to offer. Those two married up together is absolutely insane to me, because we not only have the science to back what needs to be backed in order to help improve your health, but we also have the amazing comp plan that goes hand in hand with that. And on top of that, the relationships that go with it all. I know I'm kind of repeating some of that, but that's because of the importance of it all. The relationships, the business, and the products. There is no other company that has what we have here. And I mean that. Like I can say that 100%. Um, I really, I don't know what else to say about that. Is we literally have something that nobody else has. We have the patents that nobody else have, and the way that these all work. I mean, it's pretty cool, because these products not only work in synergy, but when you start putting the business into that as well, like literally everything about this business works as one single unit. So the person that invited you here tonight, it just they want to love you. They want to show you that, hey, I know you've been looking for something not only for your health, but for your wealth, and we got something for both of those. And it's okay if you're a skeptic. It's okay if you don't believe in it right now, because I can guarantee you, by the person that I'm going to introduce to you tonight, she'll go ahead and change that for you. Right. Because we love her so much. So with that, I would love to introduce to you Miss Angie Huntley. She is a mom of five. She has two twins that actually, or a set of twins that this is why she got into this business, and this is how I think everybody kind of starts, but where you're like, hey, I want to get into this because of the products, but then you get into it because you see so many different lives being saved. So she is the most sweet lady. She loves my wife and I so much, and I'm just super excited to be able to introduce you to Miss Angie Huntley. Take it away, Angie.
Oh my gosh, Bryce. I do though. I do love you and your wife so much. I love you a lot. And you know what? That's what happens in this business is that, and I did know Hannah before the business. I didn't really know Bryce, and strangers become friends and friends become family. And there are people who come to this business just for the community aspect of it. And I've met several people, and whatever your why may be, whatever brought you to this place to say, even if you're skeptical, even if you're weary, that said, all right, I'll just show up and I'll listen. I commend you for that. That's where I was 10 years ago. I want to let Bryce know I made you the host so that if anyone needs to be admitted while I'm talking, if you don't mind covering that, and muting anybody if they come in and get unmuted. But whatever the reason, some people come because they want health. Some people come because they're so passionate to help other people, because maybe you feel set with money and maybe you feel set with health, but there's so many people around you that are hurting and that have a need. And there is just as much of a financial crisis in our world, if not more, than a health crisis. And there's a lot of health crisis going on right now, but there is a greater percentage of retirement age people that don't have enough money to retire, more so than there are type 2 diabetics that are retirement age. And they call that an epidemic. And I call it an epidemic too, because I feel heartbroken to see people's bodies not working as they should, but to see people in the financial place that they are is also heartbreaking. And I agree with everything Bryce said, and it's such an honor to be connected with them and so many of you who are on this call. And that's kind of what happens when we start building this business is, there's not many business models where you get to work with the people that you adore. And in this, you can, when you fall in love with a way of creating another stream of income and you realize you can bring your friends and family along with you and they can also take part, that's pretty special. And so if you haven't picked up on this yet, I found this when I was very weary and skeptical and I was not very open. And it's Bryce's mother-in-law who shared with me over and over, because we were in a health crisis with our youngest son, Gabe, and we had tried everything and nothing helped. And she did not stop reaching out. And so for some of you, this may be, you're maybe here because someone talked to you 4, 5, 6, 7 times and you finally said, fine. And I'm glad you're here. I encourage you to be skeptical. You should be skeptical about anything out there. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. And hopefully what I share with you tonight will either show you that this is something worth that matches up and overcomes your skepticism, or hopefully helps you to know that you can look a little deeper and let that skepticism lead you to that. But because Chanel shared with me, I was willing to listen to the information and I had a little bit of hope. It sounded too good to be true. And I want you to know that some things out there should be too good to be true. I was frustrated with my son's health situation because I wanted something to be too good to be true. I wanted something to help him and I hadn't found anything. And I'm a solution oriented person. So I had tried nonstop for 10 months and there wasn't anything that I could find in my resourcefulness to help him. But I was frustrated because I wanted that too good to be true thing to be out there. And I looked at the information, and because of that, I just said, we've got nothing to lose. We'll try it. And we needed that health transformation for my son. And this gave it to us. And when I was listening to the information, I thought those thoughts, but then I also thought to myself, why doesn't the world know about this if this really is what it says it is? And that lights my fire. When we can't get to something that everyone needs, I immediately feel that I'll be a voice in the hands and feet of it. That's just part of my personality. And if you're here and you know that you're a sharer, this business is for you, because not everyone should do the business. But if you're someone that can't keep quiet about that great restaurant, about that great book, about some new health modality that you feel that they should try, then this is the right business for you. And so my very first purchase was a business pack, and I bought the largest business pack. And the largest business pack we have right now is $1,000, and you can start anywhere from $250 to $1,000. And I came in at 1,000, and I'll tell you why. And at the time it was 1,200. It was 10 years ago. We had a bigger pack back then. And the reason I did that is because at the very same time I started this business, we were opening a franchise restaurant. So I was executive director of a ministry in our town. And then my family also decided to open this franchise restaurant. We remortgaged our house and we needed $200,000 to start this restaurant. And then as we got into the restaurant, our business expenses every month were $30,000 to pay everyone else, not us. If we were just so happy, if we could get to that 30K every month. Imagine, we sold gumbo for about $8.50 a bowl. So just think how many bowls of gumbo, how many customers we needed to come in every month that we were just praying would enter our doors so that we could pay our lease and pay the franchise and pay for the thousands of dollars of perishable inventory every single week, and pay all of our employees and all the other things that come with having a regular franchise, or what I call a brick and mortar business, meaning there's a building, there's employees, there's all of the structures, there's inventory. And spending $200,000 in going into debt for a business, looking at starting a business that nobody knew about, and it sounded like the best thing that there was, for $1,000 was just like a no-brainer to me. And so I jumped in, and I didn't get paid for the restaurant. In fact, I eventually had to get a corporate job, and I was director of environmental health and safety for a local custom vehicle manufacturing facility. And I got paid well there. And I was juggling all of these things, 3 organizations. I had zero bandwidth. So if you are someone saying, I'm just too busy to look at this, I want you to just hear me out, because the restaurant took everything from me. It took my emotional, my mental, my physical bandwidth, everything. There's times in the middle of the night we'd have a crisis. We'd have employees call in or not show up, and I would have to go to work. We'd have to scramble. And I'm balancing this corporate job too. And you guys, I had 5 kids and they had a lot going on. So there wasn't any time. I wasn't thinking, oh, how can I grow this business? But I knew I couldn't keep quiet. And what happened was, even as I'm, dishing out bowls of gumbo and as I'm managing a corporate job, guess what still happens? And so, no matter how busy you are, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do people still tell me how bad they feel? Do people tell me how broke they are? Do people tell me how much they hate their job and wish they had a different stream of income or they need to do something to make more money? And do I have time to give them a 2-sentence answer? That's still happening. I'm guarantee it because you heard everything I was doing. It wasn't healthy how busy I was, but everyone still told me their problems. And as I'm dishing out bowls of gumbo, I would say, "Hey, are you open to look at what's really helped me?" And they would be. I'd send them a link. I'd connect them to a system. And this wild thing happened, my friends. I started getting paid. And I was giving this much effort to LifeVantage, and I was giving this much effort to everything else. And the only pay that was multiplying was LifeVantage. It was wild. And not only was my pay multiplying, but people's lives were being changed. And I had team members who were also having pay that was multiplying. And I had people who were getting their lives back with their health. It was so rewarding at a time that, you know what, I needed rewards because everything else felt really defeating. I had a corporate job. The environment was toxic. It was awful. It owned me. I had a restaurant that was sucking the life out of me, and that owned me. And I'm seeing this potential happen. And here's the special part. And in this business, we call it digging your well before you're thirsty. And because I started applying a little more effort and being intentional, because it got my attention how much I was able to make with this much effort. And I started realizing, wow, if I add a little bit more effort, I can really do something here. And there's potential to make a lot of money with this. There's no ceiling, and everything else I had a ceiling to based on experience or education or my gender. And there's a lot of limitations that we all face, where you're placed in an org chart on how much you can make. Sometimes it's just in your field. There's only so much money a public school teacher is going to make. They can't say, well, I'm going to be a millionaire teaching 6th grade gym. Like there's caps, right? There was no cap with this. So that sparked my interest. And in the end of 2021, with COVID in our restaurant, we found out that our franchise supply chain was no longer going to deliver food to Michigan. They weren't going to come up anymore because they had lost every account in the North. And so they couldn't come up for us. So they closed. That was devastating for us. We were barely making it, but we needed to sell food to pay that loan. And our loan payment for that $200,000, $1,800 a month. We're still paying on that, by the way. We've been closed for 5 years. That was the end of 2021. But I had my corporate job and I'm building LifeVantage. And then a year after, at the end of 2022, the CEO of my corporate job said, you know what, we're changing directions. We're closing the doors of the Michigan plant. So many people have a job for security. And I just want to tell you, that was my definition of security. So everyone panicked around me. I was making really good money at what I was doing. And as everyone's panicking, I realized, oh my gosh, like what I've created in this business, because I was not only selling product and getting paid really well for that, I had business builders in my team that I was helping them to make their dreams come true as well. And so they were working, building income that was growing my income as well. And I looked at my LifeVantage pay and I realized I don't have to enter the workforce again. I don't have to get my resume ready. I don't have to interview and try to prove to people that I'm worthy of the one position that 50 people are trying to get. I didn't have to be scrutinized for a lack of education at a certain role. I just could jump into this. I dug my well before I was thirsty because that's devastating. It's devastating to lose a business that you're still paying on. And it's devastating to lose a corporate job of that level. But it wasn't devastating, my friends, because I had been building this. And so I want to share a little bit with you of why LifeVantage could create that for me. And one, I want to tell you that 60 years ago, a team of scientists who were not part of a company, they just were a group of scientists that understood that all disease, and yes, all disease, no matter what your diagnosis is, no matter what you think your diagnosis is, no matter what your family's diagnosis is, and no matter what the diagnosis is that you never want to get, those disease processes and aging as we know it are all rooted in the same dysfunctions. And this team of scientists said, you know what, if we could get to the root of one of these dysfunctions and just eliminate it, that could really give people the power to heal. And instead of managing disease, they wanted to get underneath it and pull up the roots of it. And that was pretty special. And they put 40 years of research into trying to find this breakthrough, and they did. At the University of Colorado in Denver, they were looking for a way to eliminate this thing called oxidative stress, and they found a way to use natural products, herbs, as a formula, a recipe, so to say, that's so unique that right now it holds 13 patents. It holds 7 US patents and 6 international patents. So it's a special formulation that turns on your body's genes that have gone to sleep and gotten lazy. And those genes are responsible for exponential healing and repair. And they lower this little bad guy called oxidative stress. It's actually a big bad guy, more than any food, drug, or supplement. So I want to tell you what a big deal oxidative stress is, because this was really the foundation of our company. But as far as my story goes, we're not a company yet. So I wanted to share with you a little bit of just this last year. In November 2025, PubMed.gov, which is a taxpayer-funded public website that shows every peer-reviewed public or published study, which if it's published in major medical journals, it's on PubMed.gov. And in November 2025, there were 377,000 studies published on oxidative stress and its effects and the way it supports all different disease processes, from cancer to acne and everything in between. There's thousands and hundreds, depending on the diagnosis, of studies linking oxidative stress to a disease process. In November, that was the number. In February, 4 months later, there were 390,000 studies linking oxidative stress to different disease processes. Now, why that's a big deal is that number went up 13,000, right? In 4 months, it went up 13,000. To get a peer-reviewed published study is a very, very scrutinizing process. Most studies submitted don't get peer reviewed and published. So, or after going through some peer review, get denied. Only about 12 to 15% of submitted studies actually get published. Why that's a big deal is in a 4-month period, for 12,000 more studies to show up on oxidative stress, there were 100,000 studies submitted. 100,000 studies. So the whole world knows this is a really big issue. And let me just tell you, you guys, they're all looking for an answer. For there to be 100,000 studies submitted in 4 months, the world is crying out for an answer, and we have the answer to oxidative stress. We're the only thing that was proven to lower oxidative stress at least 40% in 30 days, 70%, it's cumulative, 70% in 120 days. And we have all these peer-reviewed journal articles. Oh my gosh, sweet Hollins. We have all these peer-reviewed journal articles that show that. And what happened was, after this breakthrough, our first study showed 100% efficacy meaning every subject, every human in the study lowered their oxidative stress that much. And so the Wall Street Journal published a summary. 21 years ago, ABC Primetime came in and did an investigative report. That's my number one marketing resource that I give people, is our ABC Primetime. If you haven't seen it, whoever invited you to this call needs to share that with you. Please ask them for it. The fact that we have a resource like that, where the source, ABC Primetime, their ratings would have been better if they proved us wrong. But within 12 days, the reporter John Quinones, who's an Emmy award-winning reporter, lowered his oxidative stress 45%, which meant it was indistinguishable between his age at 50 and a newborn baby. Nothing else in the world does that. We have the solution that the world is crying for. And you can't think of an ailment that isn't rooted in oxidative stress. And so after that ABC primetime aired, 9 million people wanted this product, and we became a company. And we tried it on GNC and CVS shelves, and it didn't move because I've already told you more about oxidative stress than a minimum wage clerk who also has to sell diapers and mascara can tell you about it. And so a team of network marketers came in and said, let us show you what we can do. And for 1 quarter, they left it on the shelves and they put it in the hand of network marketers who are people like you and me, who care about people like you and me, who share with people like you and me, who need a solution. And it quadrupled as soon as it was in the hands of network marketers. And I'm grateful for that because I'm sitting right now across from people you can't see that I have the privilege of sharing with. And because someone shared with me, um, this continues to move and to get into more people's hands. And that's a really, really special business model. And that science of nutrigenomics, using nutrition to activate your genes to work for you and heal and repair every single cell. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's no ailment you can think of that isn't made up of cells. And we activate gut microbiome. There's never been a gut microbiome activator. There's only supplements. So between activating the cells and the genetic pathways and the microbiome, we have this extensive nutrigenomic line, and we continue to address those dysfunctions that are underlying to all disease. And we just get so far out in front of pharmaceutical companies that are trying to copy us and study us, and other companies that are trying to do what we do. But it's kind of like we're the ones who broke through the wall and other people can't catch up. So the world, every single mammal needs these products. My dogs are on this product. There's people on here whose horses are on these products, and all of my humans are on these products. So our product line is beyond compare. We don't have competition with what we do. The only competition we really have with our products is if people aren't willing to look to see how we're different than a different wellness modality. And that's it. And so what's beautiful, like Bryce said, is how we get paid. Let me, before I step into that, I just want you to know, with our company, we're publicly traded, meaning they can't surprise us like my corporation did. My corporation was still private and they surprised us and closed the doors. Because we're publicly traded, we're publicly audited every single quarter. And we have a board of directors that is made up of top leaders from real estate and from the Fortune 500, top leaders that all want to be a part of this. Aaron Brockovich served on our board of directors and sought out our company. We are debt free. So we're not just a company with $17 million in the bank. And I can say that because we're publicly traded, it's public knowledge. But we just acquired a company and we still have $17 million in the bank after purchasing another company. And so there's a lot of stability there. We have the validation of ABC Primetime. We have patents on natural proprietary products, which doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in this world. We have, even our skincare is an activator and has patents on it. And we'll find that having natural products with patents on it is so rare, but we also have patents on the synergies of our products together because they start making a whole special new product when you combine them together. And so that makes us stand out. And like I mentioned, those peer-reviewed journal articles, after ABC Primetime aired, there to date are 32 major institutions, universities, medical centers, government agencies in the US and abroad that have chosen to spend their own millions to study our product, our proprietary blend. That doesn't happen. You might think you're taking a great supplement, but I want you to search the brand of that supplement on PubMed.gov. You're probably not going to find it. I encourage you to go to PubMed.gov and type in Protandim, Protandim, and you will find institutions that have paid their own millions to study us. There are some who aren't on PubMed.gov. We had Biogen, a pharmaceutical company, pay $50 million to compare their pharmaceutical copying of one of our activators to ours. And they had to conclude, after they spent $50 million, they had to conclude that ours is more than twice as powerful with no side effects because it's a natural product and it doesn't cost $50,000 like theirs does. So our products are beyond debate. Our company is so rooted. We've been featured in Newsweek, ABC Primetime, The Morning Show. The list goes on with that. But we get paid pretty special. And like Bryce said, I think our comp plan, the way we get paid is just as special as our product line. And I'll tell you why. I won't get deep in the weeds, but I want you to know that you can make money a lot of different ways with our company. You can sell product. And you'll have people, I have people all the time that aren't interested in the business. And if someone's not interested in the business, you guys, I don't want them in the business. I just want them to be a customer. And I get paid really well on customers. I get paid the customer profit, the difference between what they pay and I pay. But then as my customer base grows, I have the ability to get larger 5% increments all the way up to 20% more on my customer base on all of their customer orders based on how large my customer base grows to be. So I can make up to 40% on my product sales. That's special. There's not an affiliate program out there that pays that much. So you can just build a customer base, but inevitably some of those customers will be entrepreneurial and they'll realize, I just got my life back with my health. The world needs to know about this, and they'll become sharers. And as you build team members, you make commissions on your team. And I'm someone who believes, I hope you do too, in several streams of income. And as I build different teams, I see each of the teams that I enroll being another stream of income. So I have a consultant underneath me whose name is Barb, and her whole team is a stream of income for me. And then I have another consultant whose name is Wendy, and her team is another stream of income for me. And I have another consultant whose name is Mike, and his team is another stream of income, and so on and so on and so on. And I get commissions on all of that, which is wonderful. Now, that's not, people will say, is this a pyramid? This is network marketing, but I'll give you a little clue. Every business is a pyramid. And corporations are pyramid. Like they're shaped like a pyramid, but we're not a pyramid, because if you were to look at my organization or other people's organization, you can enroll someone that can pass you. So like Bryce can be more successful than his enroller. And Barb, who's here, she can be more successful than me. And so it can start to look a little like this, which is really wonderful. It actually should be that way. And we have a mentorship bonus, which I love. There's two favorite parts of our comp plan that I'll share with you, and then we'll wrap up. But the company incentivizes us to mentor the people that we bring in. So I think some people have tried network marketing before and they're just on their own and they're kind of floundering and they don't know what to do. We have an incredible system to plug people into. I'm passionate, so is Bryce and Hannah. We're passionate about plugging people into a really simple system that works, and we're really passionate about supporting them. We like people to know to give this 2 to 5 years. This isn't get rich quick. This isn't overnight that you're going to blink and be rich. You have to put in the work. It's a simple system, but it's not easy. And if I mentor people and I plug them into the system and I support them and I teach them what to do and I talk to their people, and if I'm able to get Barb to the first leadership rank, which is like a mid rank in our company, then the company rewards me by matching a percentage of her pay. Basically, the company says, gosh, Angie, we're so glad you got Barb to this leadership rank. We know that took commitment on your part and investment in her. She made such and such amount of money this month. We want you to have a match. They don't take away from her. We want to match and give you this percentage match of her pay. And the more people I do that with, then the higher my percentage gets in those matches. And I get matches in every single one of those teams that I mentioned. It's not just one person, it's every month. And all of the people, the legs continue to grow. It's special. And then my most favorite part is if you have big goals, if you want to get to the top of the company, our top 5 ranks are called the executive ranks. And that's when you start getting into the change your life kind of income. And actually, like the mid ranks change your life, and right about the top, the middle rank, we have 3 ranks in the middle. And when you get to the top of that, that's kind of like, man, maybe I don't have to work another job kind of rank. But when you get into the executive ranks, you qualify for what we call a global revenue share. And that just means that the company wants to encourage collaboration. Our teams aren't in competition with each other. In fact, Bryce and Hannah aren't on my team. They're kind of on my team. We have the same enroller, but how they do doesn't help me, and how I do doesn't help them, but we help each other all the time. And that's an example of the whole culture of LifeVantage. And the executive, that leadership, or I'm sorry, the global revenue share is part of why and how that's instilled from our company. Because basically they say whatever profit that we have created globally this month, if you qualify at an executive rank, you're going to get part of that profit. So the company we're open in almost 24 markets. We're just opening right now in Portugal. It's so exciting. And so basically the profit that's going on in Australia and New Zealand and the UK and Canada and Mexico and Iceland, and I could go on and on and on, all of that profit, the company takes 4% of it, the total first. So right now they're going to look at what was the total for March. They're going to take 4% and they're going to divide that by the number of executives that qualify for shares. And the first executive rank gets 1 share. The second executive rank gets 3 shares, all the way up to the 5th top one. It's called presidential. They get 20 shares. And I want you to realize we're a 17-year-old company. And everything that's happened from day one up until now has gotten us to where we are now. So it's kind of like when you get to take part in that global revenue share, you're not only taking part in what's happening all over the world, I get to take part on what was created 17 years ago, 16 years ago, 15 years ago. I joined the company 10 years ago. So when I qualify for that share, it's like I get to take part in everything that's ever happened in LifeVantage to date. And the global profit shares are roughly around $1,300, give or take, each month. And can you imagine being a presidential and getting 20 shares? 20 $1,300 shares. $26,000 every month comes just from that part of our comp plan, on top of the leadership match, on top of your commissions, your team commissions, on top of your customer profit and your customer bonuses, on top of other incentives that we have going on. Because sometimes, like Bryce and Hannah and I, and my husband, we all got to go on an all expense paid Alaskan cruise. We earned that. And that was part of our pay. So there's other incentives like that. When you reach a certain rank in our company in the executive ranks, you get a Jeep. Or you can choose a $25,000 check. So, there's other incentives that are added in, but the comp plan is pretty special. And here's where I hope it's ringing in and kind of making a dent. This is leveraged income. So what leverage means is, and I want you to think about this. If I have to check out, if a tornado is hitting my city right now, which it could be, I'm not at home, it could be hitting my home. And if I have to take care of that and maybe not work for a couple months, I want you to think right now, what if you had to take off work for 4 months? Whether you own a business, I owned a business, my restaurant, what would have happened to my restaurant if I took 4 months off? It would have gone out of business. That's what would have happened. And what if I had to take 4 months off my corporate job? I would have gotten fired. They would not, I didn't have that much vacation time. If I would have taken 4 months off of my ministry, it would have closed. It did revolve around me. I used to have speaking engagements, and I did a lot of writing. That depended on me. If I stopped that, there was no pay with that. I've never done anything where I could stop. I've had to step back with different crises with this. And because I've created something that is a consumable subscription-based product line, so from my customer pay, I have people who will be on subscription for the rest of their life. And I get paid on that. That's leverage. If I step back from that, I'm still going to get that customer profit, and I'm still going to get those customer bonuses. But if I step back because I have trauma in my life or I've had an injury or whatever's going on, my team might be growing and building. Barb could double her business when I have to step back. And so when I step back from leveraged income, it has the potential to not only keep paying me what I'm making, but it has the potential to go up. And one of my mentors had to take a year off because of a family crisis. And she had hit the executive ranks. And when so she had a lot of moving parts. It takes a lot to hit the executive ranks. She took a year off and her pay doubled during that time. That's the power of leverage. Linear means you're trading time for money. And leverage means you're creating something that continues to pay you even when you pause. And this is income that you can create a legacy with. I get paid monthly in a wonderful way. And if I die tomorrow, my family will still get paid. I can will them this pay and to my grandchildren and to their grandchildren. And that can keep going because what happens with this business is we keep sharing, right? Your people in your business share with their kids who share with their kids. And so it can create legacy money. It's been the opportunity of a lifetime. And what I didn't say in the beginning, and I'll wrap up with this, in my career, I was a professional dancer. That depended on my body. If I got injured, can't audition. And then I opened a dance studio, totally depended on me. That would have closed. And then I actually went to Bible college and went to work at a really large church running some ministries. And that depended on me. And then I did freelance writing and speaking and opened a ministry, and it took me to that restaurant and what you've now known about me. So I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of things that don't seem very connected, I know. And this is the best thing I've ever done. I've been in it 10 years. It'll be 10 years in June, and it gets better and better and better. And I've never been a part of something that gets better and better and better. And to have a company with such a high level of integrity. And I feel surrounded because I'm not customer service. I'm not holding inventory. I'm not shipping and distribution. I'm not quality control. I'm not R&D. I'm not managing the website. The company takes care of all of that. And when you step in, you get the website, you get the app, your customers are cared for, everything is shipped to their door. You don't have to hold inventory. It's a turnkey business with a system created that you don't have to create the wheel and you can plug into. If that excites you, please reach out to the person that invited you to this. They'll be able to answer your questions. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who came tonight. Thank you for being here.